There is also specific recommendation which were made with respect to the identified threats. For instance, develop a regional counter-terrorism strategy, offering trainings and capacity buildings, joint reporting systems of improvised explosive device, which was suggested by Somalia, revisit and update a regional strategy on the proliferation of small arms and light weapons, harmonize legal definitions of smuggling, aggravated smuggling, and trafficking in persons, increase the detection capacity for illegal wildlife products at smuggling entry and exit points, and member states should consider enhancement of drug detection capabilities at major transit hubs, ports and airports, as well as suspected satellite hubs. These are the first book that I focus. My second issue is the trends dynamics of international terrorist networks, the Red Book. One of the transnational security threats is the terrorist posed by various groups such as Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, also the Islamic State of Iraq, Syria, officially known as in Arabic acronym Daesh. This study describes and explains, analyze, assess trends and vulnerability factors that threats of the major international terrorist organizations and networks active in the IGAD member state, conducted with the realization that typologies, patterns, modus operandi, and the behavior of terrorist groups are changing, dynamic, and fluid. The study confirmed the prevalence of security threats emanating from the presence of terrorist organizations, particularly Al-Qaeda affiliating Al-Shabaab, number one, Daesh, the Lord Resistance Army, and the Allied Democratic Force also. We identified that. The international terrorist networks may differ to how they pursue their objectives, but they exploit structural and proximate drivers. Some of the most prominent underlying factors for Daesh gaining support within local population include direct incentives, such as financial rewards to Muslims from low-income families. A critical conclusion is that Somalia is the base Daesh activities in Somalia and the IGAD member states. Global Daesh has created a centralized network of provinces, affiliates, and individual sympathizers. There is also a nexus between Daesh terrorist activities, exemplified by 4 related transnational security threats like human trafficking, financial operations, and money laundering, arms smuggling. The more Daesh displaced from its original base in Iraq, Syria, and North Africa, the more likely is to be expected to the rest of Africa. Owning the rivalry between Daesh and Al-Shabaab, there is a direct relationship between the expansion in the IGAD member state. When we look the synopsis of country reviews, Djibouti remains the least affected by extremist Islamist terrorists. Ethiopia, since 2019, Daesh has been actively attempting to engage in a large scale. Kenya, actually no active terror cells at the terrorist threat in the country emanates from Al-Shabaab. Somalia, yes, Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, and the Daesh operate in Somalia. These terror organizations have also spread to other IGAD member states. South Sudan, transnational extremist Islamist groups such as Daesh have not carried out military operations, suicide bombings, or any other kind of attack on South Sudan soil. The fact that Islamic terrorist groups have not carried out attacks in South Sudan does not mean that it is free from the threat. Sudan, unique case where transnational Islamic jihadist terrorist organization try to operate overtly, exploiting a conducive environment with alleged relationship with the jihadist network. Daesh pose a serious threat to the security of Sudan and other IGAD member states. Of course, 3 Daesh terrorist attacks were executed in Sudan since the beginning of the transitional period in 2019. These knowledge products will contribute to the overall peace and security strategy of IGAD in general and member states in particular. Once published, this document, they will also serve as a reference and enriching the knowledge of general public within the region and beyond.
ka farxi ehelkaaga asxaabtaada iyo qaraabadaada oo la soo deg abka dahabshiil si aad si fudud lacag ugu dirto marka aad la soo degto applicationka dahabshiil ee aad lacag ka dirayso isticmaal koodka khidmad la'aanta ee free oo kuu sahlaya in 3 jeer ee ugu horeeya ee aad lacag dirayso aan wax khidmad ah laga qaadin dahabshiil